Howdy y'all, Fuzzy Biker here at Motorcycle Park in the mighty metropolis of Marnie, Iowa. Look what Baxter Cycle has lent me today. Actually, its owner, the new owner, Steve, has lent me this today. He hasn't seen it yet. Baxter's just got this in. I think they came in yesterday. They put it together today. And Steve, the owner of this bike, is going to pick it up tonight. So we're going to sneak this in. I sent him a text, asked him if we could do a little video on this little hot rod. It's kind of got everything. It's a pretty loaded motorcycle. This is the brand new Royal Enfield Himalayan 452 in Kamet white. Kamet is a pass up in India somewhere, or a mountain pass or something like that. It's got these really distinctive kind of colorways on it. You know, this silver kind of a, check that out through here. It's got a silver subframe on the back. Check that out right through there. It's got, move my Noru gloves here. It's got the silver on the top of the seat. I hope that shows up. He has added the silver radiator guard right here. Isn't that neat? I like that. It's metal. He's added the silver bags on the back. So there's lots of silver added to this one. So white, silver. But the big deal about this particular motorcycle are the rims. This has got the 21-inch wheel on the front. But check it out. These are tubeless. So these are cast wheels with a cast hub. It's a different hub, different wheels, spoked of course, with a tubeless tire. This is a 90/90 21 right there. But look, you can see the ends of the spokes right there. So no tube in this one. There's the air valve right there. So really nifty, isn't it? Both front and back. First one I've seen like this. It's got a 140/80/17 on the rear. Same kind of a thing. It's got a different hub. Oh, the hubs are silver. I just noticed that too. Check that out. So the hubs are silver. The subframe is silver. This is silver here. This stuff here. The seat top is silver. So lots of silver going on here. And then, like I said, he added the bags. He's also got this Royal Enfield touring screen on here. It's a bit taller. The standard one's about this high. So I rode a standard Himalayan this morning to go run some errands with the short screen, and I had rode my Himalayan up to Baxter's with the tall screen, but you could really tell the difference. The wind on my body was, you know, it was palatable. It made a big difference to have the taller screen on there. Anyway, going back to the bike, he's got these nifty engine guards. So let's just start at the front. Tubeless tires, windscreen, large, tall. Radiator guard, engine bars down here. He's got a pipe coming for it. It's not in yet, but he's got a pipe coming for it. He's going to leave the exhaust pipe on it. He's got these bags on the side, these Royal Enfield bags. That's embossed in there. He's got the Royal Enfield trunk on the back. I have this on my hot rod Himalayan, and number one, I love it. One of the best adds I ever did to a motorcycle. Check it out on the back here. I had a friend sit on the back of mine the other day. We rode. We had to take my bike home, and he drove that home, and I gave him a ride back. And he said it was a comfortable seating position, good backrest. So what is a Royal Enfield Himalayan? It is we'll start with the heart of it. It's a single cylinder, dual overhead cam, 452 cc, 4-valve engine, cranks out about 40 horsepower, about 30 foot-pounds of torque. That's about 42 newton meters. It's liquid cooled. It has about an 8,000 RPM red line. Loads of torque where you need it. Very, very good engine. All that power goes through a wonderful 6-speed transmission. And I'm going to go over here and show you the shifter, but I don't really know where the transmission is. I suppose it's back in there somewhere. It's kind of a semi-dry sump. In other words, there's a sump that keeps the oil in separate from where the crankshaft area is, but it's all built into the engine. Isn't that just neat? One of the neat features, when I did a valve adjustment on mine, here is the top of the radiator. So the hot tube goes back in here at the top of the head. And then the bottom tube comes out of the water pump right over here. So when I did my valve adjustment, I did not have to mess with the radiator at all. So going back to the bike specs, it's got this beautiful upside down fork, Showa upside down fork, 43 millimeters, got about 8 inches of travel. It's about 200 millimeters. The 21-inch front tire, 90/90/21. On this side, we've got the single disc, 320 millimeter single disc brake, Bibury, dual piston caliper. It's got the different hub. Look in here, you can see the ends of the spokes. So that's how you adjust the spoke ends. Right there, little bolts. Very interesting. I like that a lot. I like these covers on the front of the, to protect the tubes. Very good, very good. So a structure like this, you have less weight that moves up and down, so it can react quicker. And then you have the larger structure on the top, so it's more rigid, which means you don't need a fork brace right here. Very well done. Why does it have 2 fenders? That's called style, I guess. Down here, it's got the protection on the pipe, and then it's got a plastic skid guard right there. We already talked about the engine guards. Beautiful thing. On the back, I already talked about the tire. It's got a single 270 millimeter disc brake with a single pot vibra caliper, 200 millimeters of travel on the back end with this monoshock. That's about 8 inches of travel again. The old system, there was a link that sat down here that you could see. Now the link is up here, so that makes a cleaner bottom end. And when the bike is on its own tires, there's about 9 inches of ground clearance, or about 230 millimeters. Wheelbase is 59.4 inches. That's about 1,510 millimeters. Seat height on this hot rod, this is in the low position right now. That would be 32.5 inches, or about 825 millimeters. You can jack the seat up a little bit. It'll go to 33.25. That's about 845 millimeters. One of the big things to note on this is the seat is very narrow on the front. So when you throw a leg over this bike, it actually feels shorter than that. It feels lower than that. And the other thing is the center of gravity is very low. It's actually lower than the old Himalayan 411, and that's my opinion. So if you're intimidated by the seat height number, just put that out of your head, get your dealer and throw a leg over one. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Jumping up here, we've got a fly-by-wire throttle, which is just awesome. I've got one of these with 14,300 miles on it already. And that's one of the niftiest things, that fly-by-wire throttle. I wish it had cruise control, but you know, I will take this. This has been a great ad, really neat thing. Let's jump here to the Oculus right here. I call this the Oculus. It's a big 5-inch screen. It's a TFT. On the outside, there is the tachometer. Right in the middle is the gear indicator. Over here is the miles per hour. Right here is the fuel gauge over here. And pushing this little lever here, the joystick. Then you got trip 1, trip 2, fuel range, fuel consumption, voltage, service due, and engine temperature. Isn't that nifty? So going over here, we've got the nifty clutch lever. I got a lot to say about that clutch lever, and I'm gonna do a little talk about that in one of my own videos. So it's got a very long throw here, and I like that. The clutch has an excellent feel. It's got a very wide friction zone, but it's just a little long here. And I have learned to live with it very well. I don't really have a problem with it, but I think it'd be a little easier if I could get maybe a lever that was, you know, adjusted in just a little farther. But it is a very good clutch, very good feel. Over here's the home button. This is the high-low button and the flash to pass button. This is the blinkers, of course, horn, and then down here is the joystick that we use to run this little dash thing down here. Over here is the mode button for ABS on and off, and for the eco mode or the regular mode. This is a kill switch, a run switch, and then you rock it over this way for start. Very good setup. Now I think it is time for me to gear up and for us to take this little beauty for a ride. How's that? Life is good. So one of the things I should have mentioned was the side stand. If you look at it right there, it's a very nice side stand. If you check it out over here, you can see that the bike really leans when it's on its side stand. First time I rode this bike and went to get off of it, I put the side stand down, and boy, thought I was going to drop the bike over on its side, but that was not the case. It was there. It's got a pretty wide foot, but I think I am going to get an extra wide foot on it. So why does it lean so much? I think the reason it leans so much, there's all kinds of things on the internet, but I think the reason it leans so much is they wanted the seat height to be lower so you can get on and off the bike easier. And now with the bags, you have to watch that, but just look at this. Throw a leg right over. No problems. Look at that. Loads of torque, pulls itself away. Did not have to give it much gas at all. Fall is here. Our grass is turning brown. That is Motorcycle Field over yonder. Over there is Baxter Cycle. Look at the colors of the leaves. Now yesterday I was in Canada. You wouldn't believe the leaves up there. Look at how nice and easy this thing turns. Excellent, isn't it? And the clutch has got great feel. If you're all in the market for a new or used Royal Enfield, Triumph, classic British bike of any type, get yourself over here to Baxter Cycle in the mighty metropolis of Marnie, Iowa, or go to baxtercycle.com. Tell those fine folks that Fuzzy Biker sent you. Look at the red in that tree. Wahoo! I think I mentioned already the wheelbase is 59.4 inches. That's 1,510 millimeters. Look at how well this does this. I just love this bike. This is my favorite model of motorcycle of all times. I call it the SUM, the single universal motorcycle. It will do everything. So I have one of these with 14,000 miles on it, and just to give you an idea of why I call this a SUM, I drove this up to Canada. I left Monday morning about 8 o'clock, and I got back Tuesday night at about 11 p.m. I did 1,300 miles in 39 hours, and the bike did not complain one bit. The vast majority of those miles, at least 500 miles of them, were on the interstate, I-80 and then I-35. And then when we got to Duluth, we got on Highway 61 or North Shore Drive. Welcome to South Marnie, by golly. And by the way, North Shore Drive, I think that's what it's called, Highway 61 up there, going north out of Duluth. That's one of the most amazing roads I've ever been on in my life. If you ever get a chance to take that, do that. I took it all the way up to and into Canada. I wanted to see if my passport would work. I just love doing this on this bike. Look at how well this thing is. This is a bike with a tall seat and a long suspension, and it just handles so well. You know, a 59.4 inch wheelbase. Simmer down, simmer down. It's a new motorcycle. That is the top of Bigfoot Hill there. You can't see him, but there's a couple of Bigfoot up there. Speaking of what I can do with mine, so I took it up to Canada, right? Well, I've gone out to Colorado, I think 2 or 3 times, 3 times already this year. 2 times on the Himalayan. We took it on BDR trail. We did some river crossings, knee-deep water. We did that with knee-deep water with one of these. No troubles, 2 of these, no troubles at all. Check this out. I call this the hill spin test. I love the way this thing handles. Next time you all are in the mighty metropolis of Marnie, Iowa, make sure you stop right here at the Derailed Grill. Try their absolutely fabulous Wahoo burger. I had one the other night. We're going to take it easy, take it easy. New motorcycle, it only has 2 miles on it. I love the way this thing sits. You sit almost upright. Your knees feel like they're just a little lower than your hips. Your heels are behind your knees. It feels like a tight setup, and it is a tight setup. Your foot pegs are quite a bit up, and they are back, but they're back so you can stand up very well. They work very well when you're standing up. They're in the right spot for that. Now, having said that it's a tight leg position, I took this on 1,030 miles in one day in 16 hours and 1 minute, and I did just fine. I did 800 miles yesterday. You know, no real leg trouble at all. I mean, it was very comfortable. I don't know how they do that, but Royal Enfield has made that work for in some way. So it's a comfortable bike. Big wide seat in the back, narrow in the front. Works very well. Very happy with the stock seat. How does the bike handle? How does it do? Well, in the garage it moves around pretty easy. It's 430 pounds. That's about 195 kilograms. So it pushes around pretty easy. It would seem like a stilty bike, and it is kind of, but it's got a very low center of gravity, so you don't get that stilty feeling like it's going to go over on you. You know, it's got very good feel in that sense. In a parking lot, it's a snap. Your driveway, it's a snap. It really is. And at low speeds, I just love it. It works very well. Let's see if we can see around this truck here. You know what? Let's go this way this day. You know, around town like this, fabulous. I just love riding it like this. And then when you get out onto like 2-lane blacktops or get it into a small town or a city, beautiful. Just barely missed that squirrel, but we did miss it. Get yourself into a city or someplace like that, it works great. I love it in town. On the highway 2-lane blacktop, it's great. It's really in its own at that point. And then the most amazing part is, even though it's an ADV, an adventure bike, it does excellent on the freeway, and I've driven thousands and thousands of miles on freeway on these things. I have, you know, I've been to 14 states on mine, plus Canada, Ontario, you know, Ontario, Canada yesterday, and it just does it so well. You know, I've been all the way down to Mississippi and Tennessee and Alabama. I've been over to Oklahoma, Arkansas, up to Minnesota, Ontario already mentioned, North Dakota, South Dakota. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. Anyway, it does all that just fine. You know, it's really this is really a true adventure bike. It really is a bike. You just point it in the direction you want to go, and it goes. And one of the things, you know, like Steve has this one set up with good bags on the back. This is the kind of motorcycle you should have sitting in your garage. And if you feel like going to Canada or to Kansas or to you know, anywhere at all, Virginia, Colorado, just hop on the bike, pack it up, hop on the bike and go, and it will absolutely do it. It's got a 4.5 gallon gas tank that's 17 liters. That's 17 liters. Look at this. It just handles so well. Nice low speed characteristics. And that's kind of how I'm setting my bike up, you know. I wanted to go to Canada the other day. I pushed the bike out. I threw a couple things in the trunk. I have a trunk like Steve has on his. And could grab my passport and hopped on the bike, went to the gas station and headed north. These are true adventure bikes. A group of us, including Steve, he has another Himalayan, he has the 411. We went out through the Lost Hills of Iowa the other day and just did all kinds of back roading. And I was on my 452, they were on their 411s, and a guy was on a Tiger, another guy was on a Tenere. And you know, it was just a wonderful time, just a wonderful time. It's a great motorcycle, my friends. Now, if y'all are interested in a bike like this, a newer used Royal Enfield Triumph, classic British bike of any type, need parts, accessories, thingamajigs, doodads, shirts, jackets, gloves, anything at all, get yourself over here to Baxter Cycle in the mighty mini-tropolis of Marnie, Iowa. Or go to baxtercycle.com. They ship motorcycles. Make sure you tell them Fuzzy Biker sent you. Hit like and subscribe if you would. Leave me a comment, I really appreciate those. Now I think I'm going to go park this motorcycle and hop on mine. You all do the same if you can. Life is good, my friends. Get out and ride. Wahoo!